So this is going to be the last problem for this video. We have 4x squared plus 36x plus 81 equal to 0. Notice it's already equal to 0, so we don't have to do anything fancy for that. So everything's the way it's supposed to be. And we can use bottoms up on this method just like we did in the previous two problems. However, I want you to notice something about this problem. I want you to look at these two numbers, the 4 and the 81, and I want you to notice that both the 4 and the 81 are perfect squares, meaning that I can rewrite them as something squared. So 4 is the same thing as 2 squared, 81 is the same thing as 9 squared. Okay? Now, this is a perfect square if I take the 2 and the 9 and I multiply them together, so 2 times 9, which gives me 18, and I take 18 and I double it, that would give me 36. If this number matches the center term, then this is a perfect square, and we can factor this so much easier than trying to do the bottoms up method. So one of the things I want you guys to look at when you're doing this section is to kind of pay attention to the problem they're giving you, and if you notice that the first and the last term are perfect squares, then there's a good possibility that this is a perfect square trinomial, and it makes it so much easier to factor this guy. So when you do factor him, it's still going to be those two parentheses. And what it's going to be is whatever number we had here, that 2 squared, that's going to be our first term in each one, 2x and 2x. Whatever number we had here for our back term, 9 squared, so the 9, is going to be the last term in both of our parentheses. And then what you're going to do is you're going to look at the sign right there in front of that middle term, and he's going to tell you the sign of both of these guys is a plus equal to 0. Again, if it's a perfect square trinomial, it's so much easier to factor. Now, you could still use your bottoms up method. It will work just as well as it's worked on the previous two problems, but again, if you notice it off the top, it's much easier to work this problem this particular way. And again, the way you're looking for is you're looking for these two guys to be perfect squares, so you can write them as either 2 squared or 9 squared in this instance, but something squared. Then you take those two numbers, you multiply them together, so 2 times 9, then you always multiply it by 2. I don't care what the numbers are, you always double whatever the resulting answer you got from the 2 times 9. So 2 times 9 is 18, 18 times 2 is 36. Okay, if this number matches this guy, then this is a perfect square trinomial. Much easier to factor, and again, this is how you would get your factors. Now I want you to notice that these guys are exactly the same. They're the exact same parentheses. So when we do the next step, which is to set each one equal to 0, we actually don't need both of them because they're the same exact parentheses with the same signs and numbers. We actually only need to do one of them, and it doesn't matter which one you choose. They're both going to come out to the same answer. So we would just set 2x plus 9 equal to 0. We would subtract 9 from both sides. 2x equals negative 9, and then divide both sides by 2, and we get that x equals negative 9 halves. This is the only time when you are solving by factoring that you will get one answer, is if you have a perfect square trinomial. So the two factors come out to be exactly the same. Every other instance, you're going to have two distinct answers. If you have any questions, please make sure to email me and let me know.